So today, as I mentioned you, right? So today we are going to discuss about Hub and Spoke or publish the relation between virtual machines, cloud environments, different clouds to establish the communication between virtual machines in different clouds. Okay, so here different clouds is one is AWS and one more thing is Azure. Okay, so you know already how to create virtual machine, whether it is in Azure. So basically, you know how to create virtual machine Azure. Same way, we need to create a virtual machine in AWS point of view as well. So once if these things is done, so we need to establish some communication between these two virtual machines of different cloud environments. Okay, so that is the thing. So we're going to discuss on today. So now here also we're having some to go with some AWS cloud. So generally, if you go with some Azure cloud, right? So what we are doing? So we are creating a resource group, virtual network, sub network, and then we are creating some virtual machine, right? But here it is not the case in the AWS cloud. I mean, concept is same, but maybe it will take more steps to create some virtual machine. Okay, that is the only difference. So first one, create RG hyphen create Apache hyphen subnet in give me 1 minute. Okay, create Apache hyphen subnet in Apache resource group. Or create RRAS.
Shiva, your screen is not visible.
Who?
Satish.
Is it for all?
Yes, now it's working.
So just check your internet connection. Okay, that is the only thing. Except that everything will be fine. Deploy server in Apache hyphen. So here RRAS, right? So this is nothing but route 3 8 Apache hyphen Apache resource. Create Apache hyphen IG. and gateway. That's 2. Associate G hyphen IG G net in okay. Calling pages in our publish the communication from. So these are the steps in which we need to implement in AWS point of view. Okay, so in Azure cloud point of view, so some of the steps you are already familiar, but still some steps may be different for you. Yeah, name as it VNet. As well. So I want to mention a H with G hyphen subnet. Just here we are creating richer network. Within the richer network, we are trying to create some subnet as well. Okay. Yeah, gateway subnet inside of G hyphen subnet of gate gateway name as G hyphen VNG. Virtual network gateway subnet. Gate virtual machine. Okay, so these are the steps we need to implement practically. Okay, so both the AWS point of view and as well as this Azure cloud point of view. Okay, but in order to simplify further, so just what we're going to do is, so we will represent all these things in one diagram. This is so here. So nothing but here we need to, here what we are doing is we are creating one Windows virtual machine within this AWS cloud, and then we are converting that existing Windows virtual machine to RRAS. Okay, nothing but routing and remote access service. So this thing, so you're going to get complete picture whenever while implementing in practical. Okay, so at this point of time, just remember that so here what we are doing is, so just we are creating some Windows virtual machine in AWS cloud account. So just we try to convert this Windows virtual machine to RRAS as a service basically. Okay, so if you observe in our previous classes, so just if you are creating some Linux virtual machine within this Azure cloud account, right? So if you want to make it this virtual machine as a server, so basically we're installing some Nginx, right? So how we have achieved the same way here also we are creating some Windows virtual machine. So then we need to convert this Windows virtual machine to as a service or a server, RRAS. Okay, so it will add as a service basically. So and then here we will create some AWS Linux machine. So here I think, so establish the communication from AWS to Azure. So here we need to create some Linux machine. Okay, anything anyway it is going to cover here basically. Okay, now here Azure cloud. So this is Azure Cloud, right? Desktop. This is Spoke1. Spoke1-vnet. Subnet. Is Azure Linux machine. Gateway subnet. And this is okay. So we need to establish this communication between these two things, right? So here so this is nothing but RR and this is nothing but so this communication we need to establish. Okay, so these types of communication even they are calling as a VPN tunnel. Okay, so these things we need to achieve. So any doubts till now, any of you? Is it fine? Hello?
No doubt, sure.
Give me 1 minute.
അയ്യോ
So you are familiar with Azure, right? So first of all, we will create in AWS point of view. Okay, so go to Google and if you type some AWS or AWS login, anything is fine. Okay, so you can create a free account. So same way how you have created Azure, same way you can create this AWS as well. Okay, so while creating account, even they're going to take the credit card and they're going to debit it. They're going to debit 2 rupees from your account, and again uh, they will credit the same. Whatever the rupees, whatever the 2 rupees, sometimes it's going to take 5 rupees. So mostly it will going to take 2 rupees. Okay, so 2 rupees from your credit card. So just within maybe some 3 to 4 hours of time, or at least sometimes it may take 1 day. So except that within 1 day, so you're going to get your account back into your respective credit cards. So, and even AWS is also accepting only credit cards. It is not accepting any debit card or something like that, basically. Okay. So try to create some account. It is very easy, basically. So click on sign in once you created an account. So select I am user. Okay. Provide your mail ID, whatever the mail ID which you have created. I mean, while creating of Azure account, whatever the mail ID you have used. So give the same mail ID here. On next. Provide the password. On sign in. Okay, so this is AWS management console. So how you're having some dashboard in Azure cloud, same way it is having some console in AWS point of view. Okay. So, and after creating this account, right? So choose this US East North Virginia. Okay, so because the charges is very less, even though it is a free trial account, right? So they are not able to charge anything. So except that any other regions related to, so maybe some US East West these things, right? So they will charge heavily, basically. Okay, so go always with North Virginia. Okay. So then here you can go for services. So you can click on this drop down. This is the one way to go to if you want to go for some services. These many services it is provided by AWS basically. Okay, so services are more when compared to Azure in AWS point of view. So and here also you can type some services, what are the services you want. Okay. So here whatever the things which are mentioned here. So first we need to create some VPC. So go to here, and here you can type some VPC. Okay, so click on it. Okay, so this is nothing but a VPC dashboard. So as I mentioned here, if you observe, we're having some VPC subnet, right? So within that, if you observe these steps, we're having the IG internet gateway, right? So these things we're having. So all these things it is going to display here basically. I mean, how many number of VPCs currently it is running, right? And subnets, number of subnets, route tables, internet gateways, all these things basically. Okay, so go to your VPCs. So click on create VPC. So create tag with, I think they have changed somewhat UI. So you can mention some VPC name, maybe some Apache, if any VPC. So you can give some IP address 10 dot. So how you are giving this virtual network is all these things same way. Okay, so here one more thing is whatever the name which you are providing here, right? So it will be appeared here in tag section basically. Okay, click on create VPC. So go to your VPCs now. So this is one VPC is created. Okay, so then you can create some subnets after VPCs. Create subnet. So first of all, you need to choose the whatever the VPC which you have created. So here this is the VPC which you have created, right? And you can mention some subnet name. Okay, so here 10.10. So this 16 and 24, this is the same thing, nothing changes here basically. Okay. So here also same, whatever the name which you are providing here, right? I mean subnet name. So it will automatically available in the tag section. Okay, so here name is a default value. I mean key value is name. Here name is automatically is a default value basically. And here whatever the name you are providing for subnet, so that is the value, that is the value basically. This is the value Apache subnet. Okay, so create subnet. So subnet is created, right? So then we need to create some route tables. So create route table. So you can give some route table name, maybe some, select your VPC, whatever the VPC which you have created. So here also same thing, whatever the name we are providing, right? It will be available in this tag section as well. Create route table. So here route table is nothing but it simply routes the or network package to the destination. So here destination is nothing but a Azure. So just it is going to transfer the respective network packets from the AWS to Azure. There is nothing but a what is exactly route table. So now if you go with this internet gateways, so click on create internet gateway. So you can mention some gateway name, maybe some Apache internet gateway. So here also same thing, tags, click on create internet gateway. Okay, so once if this internet gateway is created, right? So here if you observe, we're getting some pop-up which is saying attached to a VPC. Click on it basically. Okay, select available VPs, whatever the VPC which are created, attach internet gateway. Okay, gateway system. So we already created route table, right? So go to that respective route tables options. So here this route table is a by default. Okay, whenever if you're trying to create a new route table, right? So basically if you observe, we have created a route table with name as Apache-RT, right? This is our own route table which are created. So whenever we are creating this Apache-RT, by default is going to create one more route table. Okay, so select the route table, whatever the route table which you have created, that is nothing but Apache-RT, right? Go to routes, edit routes, click on edit routes. Click on add route. So provide 0.0.0.0.0/0. Okay, select here this internet gateway, whatever the internet gateway which you have created. So select this one. So you're going to get Apache-RT. That is the name which you have given for internet gateway, right? So click on save changes. Now go to route tables once again. Select the route table which you have created and go to subnet associations. So click on edit subnet association. Okay. So select the what are the subnet which you have created. Okay, save associations. So just you need to edit the subnet associations and select the whatever subnet which you have created. Okay, so just you need to check the checkbox and click on save associations. Okay, so here what we have done initially. So basically, first of all, you need to go to VPCs, right? So you need to click on create VPC. So just you can mention some name, right? So and then you can click on create VPC. That is the first thing which I have done. So then we have created some subnet as well, right? So just you need to click on create subnet and what are the VPC which I have already created, right? So just you can select that respect to VPC here. So then you can mention some subnet name, what are the subnet name you want basically. Then click on create subnet basically. Okay. After that, we have created some route tables. So just you need to click on create route table. So just you can provide some route table name and attach the respect to VPC as well. And then click on create route table. So just it is going to create some route table here. So then we are trying to create some internet gateways as well, right? So just you need to create internet gateway with some name and just click on create internet gateway. Once if this internet gateway is successful, right? So here you're going to get some pop-up. So we need to attach this internet gateway to the respective VPC. What are the VPC in which you already created, right? These are the 4 steps initially before creating virtual machine. I mean whether it is a Windows virtual machine or a Ubuntu, before creating virtual machine, these are the steps, these are the mandatory if you want to create some virtual machine in AWS point of view. Okay, so here if you observe this in Azure point of view, so how we are creating, we are having some resource group. So here VPC is nothing but what we are calling as a resource group, because if you observe this VPC we are attaching for almost each and everything. Subnets we are attaching, route tables and internet gateways as well, right? So here this VPC is nothing but it is acting as a resource group in Azure cloud point of view. And then this virtual network subnetwork we have created, right? Before creating the virtual machine in Azure cloud, here the subnets is the same thing. So if you click on create subnet basically, so you need to attach this respect to VPC and the respect to subnet, right? Here we don't have specifically some virtual network, something like that. We don't have that specific name in AWS cloud point of view. Okay. And here one more new thing is internet gateways. This internet gateways is we don't have in our Azure cloud point of view. These are the some, I mean, you can map the concept here. So in what we call Azure point of view and AWS point of view, just you can map the respective concepts. Okay. So the concepts were the same, but creation, I mean UI is not that much familiar. If you observe the Azure point of view, Azure is very, if you observe this UI, it is very simple. Just you can select these things and you can, it is easily understandable. Simply we can say that when compared to AWS. So AWS is somewhat not that much user friendly. Simply we can say that. Okay, but we can achieve the same thing, whatever things which are achieving Azure, the same thing we can achieve in AWS point of view as well. Okay, so any doubts till now, any of you? Is it fine? Hello.
No doubts.
Okay, so here even in AWS point of view, they're calling as a what we call, instead of they're calling as a virtual machine, they're calling as an EC2. Okay, they're calling as an EC2, elastic computing. Okay, so they're calling as an instance or EC2. So these are the names they're calling in AWS point of view. So generally in Azure cloud point we're calling as a virtual machine. So it can be some Windows or Linux, that is a secondary, but we're calling as a virtual machine. But instead of virtual machine name, so in AWS point of view they're calling as an EC2, elastic computing or instance. Somebody they will call as an instance as well. Mostly they are going to call EC2 instance sometimes. Okay, so go to services, so you can click on EC2 here. Okay, click on this EC2. So go to this instances, click on this instances on left side. Click on launch instances. So here you can choose the respect to image. So in what we call in Azure point of view, we are calling we are having some different flavors for the respective operating system. And instead of calling operating system, we are calling as an image, right? Whether it is an Windows related images or it can be some Linux related images, nothing but a flavors of operating systems basically, right? So here also same thing, but here you need to search the respect to operating system. Okay, so if you go with, if you type some Windows, so these are the Windows related operating systems here basically. Okay, same way if you type some Ubuntu, so or maybe if you type some Linux, so these are the Linux related flavors. Okay, so currently we will go with some Windows. So select this one, click on select. So this is nothing but in Azure cloud point of view, we are calling as an size, right? Sizes. So we are choosing some standard underscore b1 underscore v1. So nothing but here how many number of CPUs, how much amount of RAM, right? So these things are required. Here also same thing. We are choosing the choose the instance type option here basically. Okay. So current generation, so here all generations, if you select, you're going to get some more different generations here. Okay, so they are charging this much of gigabyte of network performance. RAM is there somewhere, memory, yeah, just this is RAM. So this much of things will have basically. Okay, so go with current generation. So select with this T2 micro basically, free trial eligible. Okay, so here, and one more thing is, in AWS point of view, whenever if you're trying to create some account, so it is 1 year free. So if you observe Azure, it is only 1 month, right? But here in AWS, it is 1 year free. The reason is they will not allow all, they will not provide all the services as a free within that 1 year span of time. Okay, so even if some costly, maybe some service is there, so which is uh, I mean which may be more price, so that is eligible only whenever if you are paying some amount to the respective cloud vendors, that is issue. Okay, maybe you're implementing some machine learning. Okay, so but if you want to just if you want to do some R&D, right, or if you want to know something, so you no need to pay in Azure point of view. So mostly within that 1 month, mostly 90% of services are free. It is not the same in AWS. Even though they are providing 1 year as a free, right? Only some limited services only free for 1 year here. Okay, so if you want to implement some machine learning model or something like that, right? So definitely you need to pay. So in within this data, it is not possible here. Okay, that is the one more thing which are having in AWS point of view. So here simply if you observe, here itself they are mentioning free for eligible. So remaining things, if we are choosing something, right? So we are not able to create some virtual machine as well within the AWS point of view. Okay, select this T2 micro. So click on next, configure instance details. So here how many number of instance you want, right? And here auto assign public. So just you need to enable this one. So these things, nothing we need to change. Here we need to provide some IP. Okay. So 10 dot, maybe 10 dot. Some IP you can provide. Okay. Click on next, add storage. Here you don't need to change anything. Click on next, tags. So if you want, you can add some tag here. Okay, next, configure security group. Create new security group here. So you can provide security group name, whatever the name you want, and if you want, you can provide some description as well, basically. Maybe so here this RTP, allow all traffic. Okay, so by default is choosing some RTP because it is a Windows. There is a reason. Okay. Click on review and launch. Click on launch. So here create new key pair. So you can mention some name, maybe some. Okay, so download key pair. So just it is going to generate some key. Okay, so if you observe while creating this Linux virtual machine, two ways we can create, right? By using password, and one more thing is by using SSH mechanism. So there we are able to generate some key by using some putty generator software, right? So like that, so it is going to generate some inbuilt key. Okay, so just click on download key pair. So it is downloaded. Click on launch instances. So your instance are now launching. So go to services and click on EC2. So here just it is in current, it is in pending state. So it is trying to make it as into state as a running. So it will take some time to run. Yes, it is in running state. So basically, if you observe, once you've created some Windows virtual machine in Azure point of view, so if you want to access or if you want to utilize that particular virtual machine, so what we are doing, we're using some RTP, right? So if you want to access, basically. So here also same thing, but here we're having, it will take some time to access, basically. Okay, so select this respect to machine, what are the machine which are created, click on connect. Here go with RTP client. So here this is the username. Okay, so basically in Azure point of view, we are providing our own username and password. Here it is not the case. This username is going to provide default by the AWS management console itself. Okay, but if you want to get the password as well, so this is the IP address if you want to authenticate, basically. So if you want to get the password, click on get password, right? Password is not available. We need to wait at least 4 minutes. So here if you observe, we have downloaded one specific key, right? So that key we need to upload here, basically. So for that, for these all these things, so we need at least we need to wait for 4 minutes, so that you're going to get some password, some random password. Okay, maybe some alphanumeric, like that you're going to get some password, basically. It is a combination of alphabetics and numerics as well, or maybe some special characters as well. It depends. So that is also, it is generating randomly at the back end, but it is going to display at our front end. Okay, so we will wait for 4 minutes. Meanwhile, if you're having any doubts, any of you, you can ask it. You can ask now. We need to wait for 4 minutes. Click on get password. Okay, so here you need to browse whatever the key which you have downloaded earlier. Okay, click on browse. Okay, so after that click on decrypt password. So this is the password here. Okay, so if you observe, it is having both alphabetics, numerics, and even special characters as well. Okay, what is your IP? This is your IP. This is your password. Sorry, this is your password. So click on connect. Provide the username as a click on OK. Click on yes.
Shiva, we haven't provided inbound port rules. So in Amazon AWS, even though if you don't provide inbound port rules, it will allow?
No, we have provided, right?
Okay. Got it.
So
Okay.
if you observe, we have chosen all traffic, right? Instead of
Oh.
RDP.
Okay, fine.
Specifically here we are not mentioning any port. Okay, so here if you observe, this is the host name EC2 MEA done. Here AMAA means nothing but Amazon. Okay, this is the unique ID EC2. EC2 nothing but instance of Amazon. So instance ID and public IP address, private IP address, instance size, these all these things we want to get. Network performance load to. So now here our intention is, so if you observe this diagram, so this instance we have created nothing but Windows virtual machine or Windows instance we have created in AWS point of view. So we need to convert this instance to RRAS. Okay, nothing but remote access service, we need to do it. Okay, so that thing we'll discuss tomorrow. It required at least 1.5 hour time to complete this concept. Tomorrow we're going to complete here. Okay, I'm closing. So, and one more thing is, even deleting of these services within this AWS is also not easy. So if you observe in Azure, just if you're deleting some resource group, all the services which is under that specific resource group, it is going to delete automatically, right? But it is not the case in AWS as well. Okay, AWS is a directive here. If you are trying to delete some VPC, right, it will not delete immediately. Whatever the hierarchy which have followed, right, while creating this VPC, subnet, route tables, and internet gateway, the same hierarchy we need to follow for deletion as well. So this deletion also we'll discuss by tomorrow. Okay. Any doubts till now? Any of you?